Hello, friends. Welcome to a podcast where you can speak your truth and Loco will listen. My name is Jake Loco. Thank you for being here at the Loco Listens podcast. Enjoy, and thank you again for being with us.
And welcome to another Monday Night Master Debaters. We have a packed agenda tonight. Usually we come in with nothing, and tonight we got a couple things we want to hit on. So we'll see if we actually hit on them, though. That's always the toughest part, is staying on track here. But I'd like to welcome my friend Jake from Local Listens Podcast. Jake, thanks for coming on, bud.
Hey, Matt. Good to see everyone. How's it going tonight?
How's everything going?
Oh, excellent. I appreciate the invite, man. I'm glad we got to connect. And I want to give a quick shout out to Ghost from My Third Eye podcast and Joe from Legit Bat podcast for bringing us all together. I wouldn't be here without them. So happy to see you guys. Ready to get into some master debating tonight, as you guys would say.
Oh, yeah.
Should be good.
Hey, and Ghost is big time now. Did you see that? Ghost Ghost just started up a Patreon. So if you want to get the tavern, go sign up for Ghost's Patreon at My Third Eye Podcast. So go check that out. For $5, you're going to get, ridiculous entertainment. Basically, those shows are 4 to 5 hours a piece. So yeah, it's well worth it, man. And there's some great people on there. And so go check that out. Ryan, how's it going, man?
Good, dude. Just freaking hanging out. I'm looking into this deuterium stuff, so that's what it's called. So we'll get into that whenever we talk about
we'll add it to
water.
the list.
Yeah, dude.
And
Crazy.
Shannon, welcome, bud.
What's going on, man? Nice to be here with y'all.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So we can get to this first. I want to hit up, and since today is the day, and Jake brought it up, I want to hit up St. George's Day first, just because this is one of those wild ones that really interests me. I don't know. Are you, Ryan, you familiar with St. George's Day?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
I wasn't really either. I've heard of it, but Jake, fill us in, man. He had a great post on it.
Yeah, well, first of all, you probably would recognize this old painting of St. George. He's standing on top of this dragon, like he just conquered it. He just slayed it. And basically what I saw today on the calendar was that in the United Kingdom, today is St. George's Day. And what was happening, this old story, could have been back to ancient Rome, and then it was retold in a Christian lens in the Middle Ages. What was going on was this terrible dragon, this terrible serpent, was messing with this pagan heathen town. And along comes St. George to rescue them. Now, this dragon was demanding sacrifices, particularly children, that these people would sacrifice so they could have clean drinking water. And St. George rolls in, and he's going to go save the king's daughter, who was the next sacrifice that was going to be offered to this horrible beast. And St. George works together with this princess, and she offers him her belt, or her girdle, which has some sexual symbolism there. They wrap the belt around the dragon's neck. They tame the dragon, bring the serpent back to the town square, and St. George is like, look, you heathens, you pagans, convert to Christianity, and I can slay this dragon right here, right now. And so they're like, of course, we'll do whatever you want. And that dragon was dead on the spot. And since then, St. George is now known to be the dragon slayer. And today is the day of his death, April 23rd. It's a strange time to be thinking about dragons and serpents and reptiles. So I'm happy I just kind of stumbled upon that when I looked at my calendar earlier. And it's a whole rabbit hole, and I'm excited to hear what you guys think about.
Very interesting on that, dude, for sure. What was the date you said? April
23rd. Yep, that was the day of St. George's death. And I was particularly interested in this because this dragon was poisoning their water supply. So in order for these people to have clean drinking water, they would offer children to be sacrificed to this reptilian overlord, right?
Yeah, so you get like satanic shit in there.
It's got that Moloch story, right? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's cool.
And the
Where did you come
dragon, the dragon, the reptile, the serpent, that's always, lately been spun to the negative, right? I mean, you have St. Patrick, who was sent to Ireland to get rid of the snakes. It sounds like a similar tale in a sense that, listen, this is Christianity going in and wiping out any pagans or any non-believers. It's either convert or you will be slayed like the dragon.
And I'll just add one last thing, and I really want to hear what you guys think. The girdle, this belt that this princess was wearing, kind of seems like it would be a symbol for chastity, because these pagans, these heathens, probably, they were having a good ass time, having some orgies and whatever. And Saint George is the patron. He's coming in to spread the gospel, to spread this more chaste way of living. And so they use this princess's girdle to tame this dragon. So I think it's very interesting imagery there. And I mean, I just happened to walk by my calendar. I was like, oh, there's a holiday today in the UK. It's St. George's Day. So that's where that all came from.
Dope. Dude, I don't know. Did you guys ever see this? I posted this on Instagram. It just ties in exactly with what you're saying. You see that?
Oh, that's Fauci's mom's crest, right?
That's Fauci's. Yeah, Fauci's mom's little seal, and that looks to me more and more like water, dude. Like 2 buckets of water.
Yeah.
And you have the dragon or the snake eating the kid. It's clearly like some sort of ruler.
Got the
and
crown.
then so much symbolism within that, dude. You got Abyss.
What are the colors, Ryan?
Blue and gold.
Yeah, blue and yellow. Yep.
Triggered.
So yeah, dude, it is a really symbolic one. And this is off the Switzerland one, the Swiss one. And there's a lot of weird shit with the Swiss, dude. Like the Swiss guards the Pope, right? The Vatican. So they're tied in real deep. And I mean, if anyone could be considered some lizard people, it'd be the people at the Vatican, right? So just weird, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's I wonder if they put this whole thing together, because that news, what day that news broke about the venom in the water and all that shit. Do you remember the day?
What was it?
March 22nd, dude. 322, baby.
Okay, all right.
Skull and Bones, dude.
Those
right?
3s and 2s, man.
So you get 322, Skull and Bones. This could have just been a massive distraction. I don't doubt that there's something wrong with the water, though, dude. You know what I mean? Other than the fluoride, because I started looking into it. I'm still going to buy a distiller for $100. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm lazy. But I found out the largest solid mass in water by like a wide margin is toilet paper and tampons in our tap water.
And those tampons got to be laced with some kind of chemicals. They're not just like pure paper. They're not pure anything. There's probably some kind of
of course
mixture in there. Yeah.
Well, and
you
then
got all the pharmaceuticals too.
Right. Oh yeah, birth control especially.
Yeah.
We've got to put a bunch of chemicals in the water to clean that stuff out, right? I mean, you're getting microscopic pieces of all this stuff, but I mean, tampons are meant to soak up blood. It's a disgusting thing to talk about, I know. But I mean, you're getting your blood in there. And I'm actually working on an episode right now with the HEK293 cells that they put in food to preserve the flavor. I don't know if you heard about this shit.
Is it the stuff they put in like Gatorade and stuff too?
Dude, they put it in Pepsi products, Campbell's products. They put it in so many craft. And it's not just like anytime you see Pepsi, Kraft, or Campbell's. They own so many damn brands, like DiGiorno's owned by Kraft, all kinds of different brands. But what it is, dude, it's the HEK293. The HEK stands for human embryonic kidneys. So these are aborted baby kidney fetal tissue. So and it supposedly holds flavor really well. So anytime you're ingesting those products, in a way, you're consuming children, dude.
Jesus.
It's fucked. And
that's
the company that did it was the company that partnered up with these people was called Cenomix. So
sounds like Operation Paperclip just went hog wild with the food industry there.
It's scary, dude. So there's a lot of satanic shit here, dude. This is why I lean into Christianity. I'm still agnostic, but I don't buy all the pagan pushing and the nothing against anyone that's into it, but that and the Hinduism and all the spirituality. I think that there's something to this Christianity shit, man. I'm just trying to find out what it is. So
that's the journey, though, Ryan. right? I mean, everybody's looking for that same thing. What is the right path for me?
Exactly. Yeah. And like I said, dude, I don't knock anyone for getting into this other shit. I guess I'll take this demon down that we've just been staring at. But yeah, dude, no, I don't knock anyone for this stuff, man, because like, you know, not that long ago, I was super fascinated with like the dark side of things. You know what I mean? Like I had a shirt company and we'd use all kinds of occult symbols, you know what I mean? And just like upside down crosses, and just because it got people's attention, you know what I mean? And then I realized, like, dude, that shit's dumb. And then I had that car accident, and it just made me change my mind about all this stuff, dude. So then with what's going on, I just figured, like, why not try and look for the good in this fucking realm, whatever we're in. So we'll see, dude. We'll see what happens, I guess, when we die.
Yeah, keep all the bullshit out, man. That's what I'd say.
That's what I'm doing, dude. You have to now, man. Like, I'm sure that it was tough for a lot of people in the old days, like, you know, just trying to live their lives, and then people are getting killed if they're not worshiping the Christian God. So I get why people moved away from that, but times are different. You know what I mean? Like that'd be like, you know, holding all white people accountable for slavery, and we don't like that. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. It's like you said, Matt, it's a journey.
Yeah. You could even look at the Old Testament was one version of Christianity. New Testament goes in a different direction with a different flavor. Even the Book of Mormon has other ideas, like especially when you look at John Smith. He was basically visited by a light being or an extraterrestrial entity that led him to this spot where he would encounter these ancient artifacts.
It's crazy you say that.
Hey, there you go.
I just picked it up the other day. It was like $3 at a used bookstore.
I met some Mormons in Dallas, Texas. They gifted this to me. And I don't know if your copy has this, but there's a great painting of Christ when he goes to visit Mexico. So this is going to be hard to see, but there's Jesus and there's a pyramid in the background, Pyramid of Mexico. So the whole
Aztec pyramid?
The Aztec pyramids, yes, exactly. After his resurrection, he made a pilgrimage to the quote unquote new world, although I think the old world would be a better way to put it.
Yeah, now, right? Because now they're trying to make a new world. Yeah, dude, it's wild. There is something real weird about Mormonism in Mexico too, like that whole Mitt Romney connection, and how that family got like fucking slaughtered down there, dude. You know what I mean? Like by the cartel or whatever.
Speaking of Skull and Bones.
Well, and it's interesting too, because they're saying that, you know, America has an older history than what we've been told, and that's you know, I'm always down to hear somebody's take on that, because the fact that we're sold that nothing really of any significance happened here until Christopher Columbus got here, I mean, that's a joke.
Well, you think that, I mean, I think it's pretty well known now. I think they say Eric the Red was here much longer before Columbus was even here. And you think
he was here like
the Vikings and everything. So
Erie Canal, Great Lakes region. And with the Book of Mormon, they talk about the Native American tribes have lineage to the Israelites. So, you know, it's like the 12 apostles after Christ was crucified would flee to the US or to the South American region and continued their work, their spreading of this light and love, allegedly. It's really interesting. I only know a little bit about it, but that alone set me off on this kind of, like, my ears were ringing when I started seeing this image of Jesus in front of these pyramids. It was pretty cool.
Well, dude, there's got to be something really weird about Washington, D.C., right? Because that's like a city in the middle of 5 hills, just like Rome, right? So it's like they're trying to recreate all these things, and who knows if those hills are natural or whatever. But I remember, like, one of the first episodes is actually it's on the Patreon ways back, and it was when me and Brandon were doing our little cooking show while we were talking about like the CIA while we were cooking, and it was like this occult history of America, like how it's a Maru Ka. And it's like all the weird, like the snakes and all that crazy shit. So
what do you guys think about the Washington Monument and the obelisk and this Egyptian or Babylonian connection?
The thing that sticks out to me about that is that it's 555 feet tall and goes in the ground 111 feet. So that's 666 feet. I guess it has to go down so deep so that it doesn't blow over in the wind or some shit. I wouldn't know. I'm not an engineer like that, but you know, it's just there's a lot of stuff there, dude. There's the the phallus and the pregnant belly of the Capitol. I mean, you get
Mhm.
endless symbolism there.
You got all the Masons too, with founding fathers. I mean,
Mm.
George
Speaking of that,
Washington and all the
yeah.
other ones. I mean, Hellfire Club, all that stuff.
The Order of the Pug.
Yeah, I saw you
Yes.
posted about that. Yeah. But it's really quick, the St. George connection. I know Georgia, the state of Georgia, is a huge Masonic headquarters. It's like the hub of Masonry in all of the US, as far as I can tell. St.
That's where the
George.
Guidestones are, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Georgia Guidestones.
And that
yes.
was also the home of the Cherokee,
Mm.
was in Rome, Georgia.
Well, then what about like Atlanta? You know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
clearly an Atlantis reference, right? So I mean,
Right.
that'd be an interesting thing to look into, to deep dive into Georgia, because it's one of those states where it's kind of like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? They have Atlanta, and that's really like the only thing that you really think about in peaches.
Mm.
But I mean, there's got to be some reason for that. Same with Wisconsin. Wisconsin's huge.
Oh yeah, a lot of
with
Viking
masonry.
culture out there, and then in a similar way, Memphis, Tennessee. I mean, it's really interesting to. There's Cairo, Idaho. I think there's a Cairo somewhere. I gotta look back on it. It's from Neil Gaiman's book, American Gods, and he kind of goes into these lineages or these gods that were transplanted from the old world to the quote unquote new world, and how they took root in the American culture in their own unique way. Whereas before, they were worshipped and revered, and now that they've been transplanted to this new land, the way that they're worshipped has changed quite a lot given the modern culture.
That's interesting.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah, there
into
was that book I was showing you too, Matt, of the it's like the Chinese or the what we think of as Native Americans. A lot of them are actually like Chinese, right?
Yes.
That was a weird thing to look into too. I didn't read that book yet, but it's from like the 70s. But yeah, dude, there's so much shit, man. Like sometimes you think that you might run out of episodes when you've been going for like, I've done almost 250 episodes. It's like, no, dude, there's endless things to talk about. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of like, finding a cool angle. Shannon's always sending me shit constantly. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, there's so much stuff that I haven't looked into.
Well, and it depends which way you want to go too, right? You can, if you're a history, there's never ending things to talk about. If you're current events, there's never ending things to talk about. If you want to interview people, and that's the beauty of it. Like you said, Ryan, I got into this. And I'm like, man, I'm going to run out of ideas after a while. And now I got a side list that's a page and a half long of things I'd like to eventually do. There's just not enough hours in the day.
Well, dude, there was that one topic that I really want to look into, and maybe I don't know if you'd be interested in doing this, but it's it's something that you have to be real touchy with, but it's like the Black conquistadors and the idea that possibly like Black people were much, much more powerful than American history gives them credit for.
Like a seafaring civilization.
The Moors.
The Moors. Yep.
Well, the Moors, but then like you can go and you can look at like there's tons and tons of Black slave owners, right? I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
You can
There
really
were Native
quickly find
American
that.
slave owners.
Yep.
They had plantations.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it is funny that they just try and paint it as like white people were the only one that did it.
Yeah.
But just looking into the Black conquistadors alone was really interesting, dude. So it was something that I kind of wanted to look into more.
That's
I
a
just
cool
haven't had
topic.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. I'll have to look into it.
Now, this is, excuse my ignorance. So when people say the Black Nobility, are they referring to like a different group? I mean, I've heard that phrase used a lot, especially on Sam Tripoli's show, Tinfoil Hat. I was curious if you guys know anything about that, or if there's any connection to the African conquistadors that you just spoke of.
I haven't seen any connection personally. The way that I really connect them is like with the Pope, right? The papacy. They're deeply tied in with the Vatican. There's the Great White Brotherhood, and the Black Nobility is even above them, if I'm not mistaken. But dude, yeah, it seems like the Black Nobility is kind of like one of those things where it's like, dude, they're at the top of the pyramid. A lot of Italian wealth in that, right?
Yeah. The
Nancy
head of the
Pelosi's
Jesuits.
father. Oh yeah, dude. Nancy Pelosi's dad was Black Nobility.
Yeah.
So, I don't know a ton about them. I should learn more for sure. But as far as I know, they were not Black.
I've seen, Ryan, to contradict that I have seen some posts from people that I haven't dug into where they make claims that the real Black nobility was in fact Black.
African.
So yeah, I haven't I haven't had the time to dig into it, but yeah, I have seen both ways, and that's why I was interested too to see if anybody had dug further, because I'm with you, Ryan. What I've heard so far is it ties kind of back to the Venetian bankers, the Jesuits, the high rollers, well beyond the white and black Pope.
Well, that could be something there to further, and again, it's such a shady thing to talk about, especially since I'm a white dude. But if they're trying to hide the history of this very, very powerful, oppressive black class that's kind of waging war on humanity, that would really line up well to say that, oh no, all these groups throughout time have been white Anglo-American types. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm sure that there's scumbags in every race, dude. Call me crazy, but that's just kind of the way I feel.
People are people, period. It doesn't matter how much melanin you have. There's something inside you that you're either a good person or you're not. And that the whole skin tone thing is just another way to divide us. Granted, there are different backgrounds, but at the same time, we're all part of the same race. We're all from the same land, in the sense, the same place.
Speaking of that, I know one thing that we all have in common is the pineal gland. And it's really interesting to look at the Vatican having this pine cone emblem, or this symbol that is highly revered, highly regarded, which has a, direct spiritual connection for all of us, no matter where we're from. You guys have any thoughts about that pine cone symbolism that the Pope seems to be
the Egyptians? The Egyptians had all kinds of stuff with that too. Big time.
Well, dude, that's a good point. That's something I completely forgot, is the Egyptians were clearly black. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's I'm actually looking up something that ties right into what you were saying, Matt. It's like the black African nobility of ancient Europe. I guess they were there before the white people, according to this theory. But again, dude, it's a theory. You know what I mean? They are like the Moors.
They were the original nobility, and then when this story, when the Catholic story rewrote everything, the Jesuits rewrote it. They got rid of that black history, the black narrative to it. The old Germanic tribes, I've heard were black. Even there were black rulers in England, or
like Britain. The Holy Roman Empire, or before that?
Before.
Okay.
What they tell us about history is so BS. You could look it up. I believe it was the pharaohs. They found cocaine and stuff like in their wrappings. So obviously they had to be trading with South America and stuff like that. So I think there was trade routes all over the place.
And you saw that in the drawings, right? They were drawing animals that they were not native to their land. And the only way you're seeing that is either someone brought it to you or you went there to see it.
That's it.
So
there's some cool stories about the elongated skulls, and this might connect, it might not, but it's good to throw it out there anyway. Another thing that I've learned from talking with the Mormons is that there's direct reference to giants living in the North American region, South America as well. Even Magellan would record this, or Magellan's assistant would record this in his journeys. These very tall beings were found in I believe Chile or the Argentina region, and that they were eradicated, wiped out by the time this Jesuit timeline was implemented. It's like that part was kind of left out, perhaps, and there could be a connection back to ancient Sumeria, back to ancient Egypt, and these other dark-skinned regions, or these civilizations that were here much longer.
Book of Enoch. If you've never looked into the Book of Enoch, check it out. It's pretty cool with the Zale and all those other ones. It's interesting.
When I went to go visit Dallas, and that was Enoch talking. My friend is named Enoch, and he introduced me to the people who would gift me this book, and just a funny synchronicity there.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Dude, so check this out. While you guys were talking, I pulled something up here. This is fucking sick. So they show some coins here just for the audience. But look, when Saxony was black, something's blocking me. You can see this, right?
Yep.
So yeah, when Saxony was black and England had black royal families. And these are the statues, I guess, Black Otto the First and Eadgyth, I guess. and then you got Saint Maurice. But dude, look at these coins. So you got Frederick the Third. Those aren't white dudes right there that are on the coins.
Definitely not.
And you can look at the dates, 1463 to 1525.
Yep.
Elector of Saxony. This dude's, I mean, that could be something else. That's unmistakable.
Yep.
Right? Maurice. And then that's just a dude on a horse. But yeah, man, that first and third one are wild to see that.
And that's a coin. So if it's dated, that's, I mean, unless it's a complete forgery, it's legit, I mean,
that's wild, dude.
And because I've seen paintings of some dark skinned, kings, in the garb, the crown, everything. But yeah.
I mean, the mainstream historical narrative has kind of led people to believe that it was only the Egyptians who were the dark-skinned kings. The pharaohs were these rulers, and it wasn't really taught in any other region of the world that there were black rulers. It's very limited to just Egypt, maybe Sumeria. It's that region is very exclusive.
And it's funny, even those two, if you were to just go with those two, they're so influential, right? Like, it wasn't Sumeria, they spoke Aramaic, right? If I'm not mistaken. And that's what Jesus spoke.
Right.
So
what was that group he was a part of? The Essenes? They were like a group of monks. The Essenes, yes. Very interesting.
Yeah, dude, that should trip me out.
Yeah. And I'm sure you guys have seen those coins. So it's like, instead of the 1, like 18 so and so, it's the J or the I, which completely throws off the whole timeline, which is really fascinating to think about. I'm sure you guys have seen that before.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. And it's interesting too that you brought that up, because I just watched today the guy Ewar Anon, that the Lost History of Flat Earth guy that came out with those big documentaries.
Chance Garden has been talking about that a lot.
He did a 180 today and said it's all bullshit, and basically was talking about that and saying how, it's all made up. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know, to do a 180 like that quick. And he
all
said
a grain of salt
over one book.
Yeah, you can't. What book was this, Matt?
It was a book on the Cathedral of Liverpool, and it just showed how it was built from the ground up in the 20th century, and that sold him on basically everything from the old timeline right away. He was like, okay, yeah, I guess I got to believe that, and everything that I told you in the past 15 hours of my documentaries is just exaggeration. It's like, what?
Wild.
I don't know. He just flipped totally. He did a 180. So who knows?
So who is this, Ryan? Dorothea?
Sometimes shit'll freak you out, I guess. Yeah, dude, this was tying into what Matt said about the Germanic things. This is Prussia. For those that don't know, that's where Germany is now. And Princess of Denmark and Duchess of Prussia between 1504 and 1547. Daughter of King Frederick of Denmark, which, I mean, typically you think of Denmark as white, you know what I mean? Like, that's Scandinavian and shit, right?
Yep.
So it's just really interesting to think about this stuff, dude. Like, I get why history's so interesting. I get so caught up with current shit because it's so, it's so relevant. But then this stuff, obviously, maybe there's a lot of lies that could be like, rocks turned over, so to speak. And you can at least kind of understand why we're going through what we're going through now.
And that's what it is, Ryan. It kind of leads you into, okay, how did we get where we are? And you start seeing the things that because one of the things you see is templates, right? A lot of what they do is based on a template. And that's how we can identify these quote unquote false flags very easily now, because we know what the template is for that. Now you have to expand that template on a grander scale to start understanding the way they manipulated history. But they've done it in a manner that has a template to it, because they're not as creative as we think,
And speaking of that template, I mean, if you take something like the orphan trains, it could fit perfectly with that Civil War timeline. All these orphans, there are these lost souls from this great war in the Americas, and It kind of makes sense. It made sense when I first learned about it, but you look back and you're like, huh, it just doesn't seem like it would, it seems like it was like a script written out to justify this strange happening, this train of orphans. These are some
Yeah.
cool
I mean,
photos.
because it went on for 80 years. That's the crazy part. And it's like, oh yeah, we're just supposed to overlook that they just took these kids and moved them around the US and put them in different parts of the country, brought them out from the cities out to the countryside and dropped them out to the farms. Like, what?
I'll take it even further. I always think to myself, how much of our reality is even what we're told it is, because they own us as soon as we come out of the womb, and they're sticking us and telling us what to think and where we should go, what to do, what time to be there until you're an adult. And then they got you if you go through their system even more. It's all about getting you in one of their systems, whether it's the penal system, the medical complex system, the military industrial complex system, the debt system. They just want to own your ass. That's it.
Yeah, the education system has changed quite a lot. Like, I'm a high school teacher right now, and I can tell you that there are certain directions that some teachers are led down, or they lead their students down these I guess you could say these rabbit holes where if you want to teach a whole generation of kids to hate their country and to feel guilty about being a particular race, then it starts in school. And it does happen. I mean, it's something that if you walk into a couple classrooms, you can see this happening bit by bit, like one little remark at a time, or one suggestion at a time.
We used to say in the Army all the time, it only takes 2 generations. We can change everything in the way you think and your whole culture. That's it.
Well, and that's what you see around that 1850s to 1900 time frame between the World's Fairs and the way they're moving around orphans. They're putting people in insane asylums. You're seeing that shuffling of the population and that ability to manipulate and really control what people think and say, okay, now we're at a manageable level. We're going to teach you this. This is the way it's going to be, and you're going to learn it and move on.
It's the same from a health standpoint too. Like, if you put something in the tap water and then a couple generations later, you're going to see those variations in the genetic pool, or some kind of it could be like a manifestation of illness that takes a while. But if you do a slow drip of one particular thing or one particular idea, eventually it'll take root in the following generation.
Well, we're seeing that, right? With the processed foods now. I mean, look at the body type of average people now compared to even the 70s. It's night and day difference.
Would you hear this golden cricket food bar?
Bugs?
No. Yeah, Bill Gates is partnering up with them, and they're making it's like I think that it's disgusting personally. I see the practicality of it for sure, like no doubt. It's like sweetened, I guess, with dates. But yeah, it's got fucking crickets as the protein. It's a protein bar. But I mean, if you think about it, it does save a lot of water. It saves all this stuff. I say make them, but don't make people eat that kind of shit. They're really shoving it down people's faces. I think it's disgusting to have like the fast food chain. I think there's one in Texas somewhere where it's all bug protein. That's disgusting. But if people want to eat that and it makes them sleep well at night, hey, go for it.
I don't know what's more disgusting though, Ryan, that or those fake burgers.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what would you rather have, crickets or a 3D printed burger?
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking, dude. Is like, we just are normalized, like as a culture, we see eating this pink slime and this gross ass, who knows how many cows are in that one burger, if it's even cow meat. And then, you know what I mean? Like, we see that as normal though, because again, the programming they get us when we're young. We see those golden arches on the TV when we're kids. We want to have our birthday parties there when we're fucking, 6 years old. And then it's one of those things that's open all the time. You know what I mean? If you're in a pinch and you're trying to get something to eat, it still seems somewhat normal to a lot of people. I eat fast food every once in a while. You know what I mean? A lot more often than I should, for sure. But yeah, dude, as far as the bug stuff goes, man, I say do it, but like, don't force that shit.
Just no mandates, please.
Yeah. And clearly they're doing something with this food supply right now with all these attacks on the plants.
Yeah.
The craziest one.
Did you guys see
General
that?
Mills.
That's wild.
And there's
Yeah,
that
did
great
you see
meme
that?
of Bill
The
Gates.
FBI put out
smiling.
a warning yesterday, I think, about all the food plants, saying that now they're going to get cyber attacked or some crap.
Yeah. Well, dude, and you know what? I actually talked about that on my news thing on YouTube, where it's been 30. We're on pace for 30 in a calendar year from July, middle of July to, this coming July. We're on pace to at least hit 30. There's been 16 this year, and they're really stressing about it this year. But if you just think about even too with the when the pandemics really started and the lockdown started, about a year in, there was a lot of this shit going on too. Like Tyson mills were shutting down. So there's about 25 so far in the last.
Then you have the fertilizer too, which is
Right.
what, from Russia, I believe they produce a lot of it.
Yeah,
One
the
of them,
prices
I
are going to
believe,
go way up. And there's been, so if we assume this is sabotage on this food distribution supply chain, the same thing is happening in Russia. Allegedly, not the food supply, but there are so-called saboteurs, or there's things being lit on fire as if it's going to be used as that one excuse that will let them use larger weapons in this fight. But what's happening here locally is much more concerning, to be honest with you. I think it's going to have a more direct impact on us.
Ryan, you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted, bro.
Sorry, dude. I keep doing that when I have to burp over here, dude. The one that wasn't listed there was General Mills. The plane freaking crashed into that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that was more recent. That was like last week. Yeah, that list went up to the other day. Yeah.
Wow.
It's just crazy, man. So yeah, it's definitely going to have some sort of impact on everything. But I think that Bill Gates has something to do with it. I'm just going to throw that out there because he has a lot of food land. And like I said, he's partnering up with these weird bug companies. They're trying to change the whole way that the food system's thought about, I think, is what it seems like. So
he's cornering the whole market.
Well, we know who's trying to change the game, Mr. Elon Musk.
Oh shit, what a segue.
I am laughing because I got to share this because this is the insanity. Hold on, let me pull this up. Where is it?
I'll say right now while you're pulling that up, dude, that this is such a good political argument to have right before the 2022 midterms, because all the right pundits are taking the side of free speech, and then all the lefties are saying like, white supremacy, even though he's an African, which he was part of apartheid. I'm not a big fan, but so what's this?
I spent 30 seconds on Twitter, and this is what I came across. History has been made. Elon Musk just purchased Twitter. Patriots, the future is bright. And then another one. We're all going to see what happens when Starlink and Twitter combine. What a day. And then Elon Musk is going to save Twitter and free speech. Like, these people are they're so brainwashed to think that this idiot is going to do anything to save free speech.
Yeah, well, both of them are, man. The woke, look at the name of that middle one, woke societies. You know what I mean? Like I said, dude, I didn't realize you were going to pull this up, Matt, but dude, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You see like this DC Drano guy that I follow because he posts some interesting stuff every now and then, Rogan O'Hanley or whatever. But these are like, hardcore Trumpers. And for some reason, people have tied Elon Musk to the MAGA movement, which is really falling apart big time anyway, with endorsements of like Dr. Oz and shit like that. But yeah, man, it's anyone that was on that Trump train, including me, got duped. You know what I mean? We got fooled, man. And
tell me,
they did a good job
Elon and
doing
Trump aren't the same character. Because I was talking to it's funny because my 9-year-old said it to me, because I was talking with my brother-in-law over the weekend about Elon, and my son kind of listens to stuff, and he's like, Elon, that's the guy that puts all the spaceships up, right? I'm like, yeah, that's the one. He goes, and what did he say? He was talking about how I totally lost my train of thought.
And he's building the Death Star too.
Well, no, he was talking along the lines of that this guy is like Loki. is what it was. He goes, he reminds me of Loki dad. He's always just doing crazy stuff, because we watched the Loki show. And I was like, yeah, man. I'm like, he goes, and he's kind of crazy like Trump. And I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, this dude is understanding what's going on. And but that's what I thought. I was like, oh shit, yeah, they are. They're just these two kind of agents of chaos that give you this glimpse of they're gonna help you, but they're not in the end. That's
what's so useful about celebrities. Like at this point, Elon Musk, you could think of him as an engineer and a scientist, but overall, he's a celebrity, and celebrities are weaponized. Not to say that Elon is going to be weaponized, but he will be used for some type of agenda that's much larger than him and what his company stands for. It seems like, anything that Elon does can and will be used against him and all of us. But we could also see some benefits from Twitter. I'm not sure if this would be worth celebrating. It would be interesting. It would be very entertaining if, old Don got his Twitter back, because that's how people are going to celebrate. And that's going to be a huge shift for this midterm election, right? If Elon can do that, then he's going to win over a large majority of the population.
Well, and there's another real interesting angle that the Truth Social that was supposed to be taken public by some company. I forget what the company's called, but shares in that fell 13% after the news came through. So this is potentially taking money out of Trump's pocket. Again, I think it's for show, but that's one of those angles, you know what I mean? Where it's like, if in the small percentage that this is real, those are the kinds of things that we'd have to think about. Where is this hurting Trump? Is this helping Trump? Is this hurting, the left? Is this hurting the right? I have to entertain those ideas, you know what I mean? That it's actually a real thing and we're not just 100% in a simulation, but who knows, man? It's really tough to.
I would say the next guy they're already going to push, you can already see, is that Florida.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis.
I mean, you could just see that he's already getting groomed to go up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm curious about that too, like with the left and right, red versus blue divide on social media primarily. Like we have an example like the Hunter Biden laptop. Now, if something like that happens, how is Elon Musk going to handle it? Is he going to shut it down immediately, or will he allow the discourse to take place and those investigations to take place? Because it seems like back when that Hunter Biden story first came out, it was immediately shoved under the proverbial rug. But now,
well, you'll see them all now. I think once he gets control, not too much longer, they'll be passing those laws now that, hey, you can't be posting this stuff on there, anything violent or anything, or they're going to come after you. Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, they got Instagram started that, right? With you're not allowed to post pictures of other people against their will. So, if they go that route, they're going to find it. This is going to be a way to censor us more.
Or to
if anyone thinks that we're going to get more free speech out of this, you're crazy, because anytime anything like this happens, it goes the other way.
Yeah, Lindsay, we can only buy bugs if we have a certain credit score. That would make perfect sense,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Well, dude, and then the Bidens and and Musk, there's been that whole story laid out where they don't like each other. You know what I mean? Like the Biden administration is going hard after Elon for tax evasion and shit like that. So the story's already there. It's already set up to where, like, I'm sure that Musk will try to expose some stuff, try in heavy quotes, but just won't be able to get it done for whatever reason.
Yeah, not to change the subject, but you know who one guy I feel sorry for and no one talks about it anymore is Assange, man. It's like I always wonder what happened to that poor guy, man. What are they doing to him?
It's hard to know, man. I wonder if he is actually rotting in a cell like they say he is, or if he's dressing up like a chick and running around like some other.
Right?
Thing,
yeah, for sure. But you don't hear anything anymore. Nothing.
Yeah, you really don't. And then he's meant to look like a bad dude when Snowden is kind of like this quasi hero, you know what I mean?
Yeah, isn't Snowden getting his own movie, like a Hollywood remake of him?
Isn't Snowden hiding in Russia?
Yeah, and I think Assange is in a prison in Russia, right? Or no?
Assange is in England, in Britain.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I think they extradited him here, didn't they? They were supposed to. I don't know if they
that's
ever
right.
did.
They were supposed to extradite him here, but I don't know if they did.
What did you guys think
I don't know
about
either.
John McAfee back in summer of, that was 2021, right? Summer of 2021 when he was schwacked.
Yeah, he got
He's probably
schwacked,
still
I'd
alive.
say, dude.
Mm.
I think
He
he's
didn't
still
leave
alive,
us anything
honestly.
though. He
Nah,
left
yeah.
us a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, it was another one of those, you know, that was kind of like, oh, this is going to unlock everything. And there was nothing there. Again, another smoke and mirrors.
Well, I always think too, if they're posting that stuff and they can say whatever they want, the NSA already knows everything. You know what I mean? They know everything. So even if you do have a dead man switch, supposedly, and you're going to do all this stuff, I'm sure they can just shut you right down. So it doesn't really matter. You know, that's how I think. They know all. I mean, they're probably watching us right. Well, we know they're watching us right now. You know, we're not that interesting to them, but I mean,
We sure do
we're
keep
still
our
getting monitored.
Yep. We sure do keep our FBI agents busy and thoroughly entertained, I would say.
Yeah, hopefully they're not just beating off to us, dude, because they're some weirdos. You know what I mean? You know that they're weird. They're into
Put
that
the
weird
lotion
shit.
in the basket.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you know that there's some weirdos like that. So, because who's just gonna sit around and just watch people talk or even listen? I'm sure it's a computer, but still, at the end of the day, there's got to be some human work involved there.
Well, it's funny you say that because what's his name? Kyle from Big Dumb had Mitch Vuk on, and Mitch was talking about how after January 6th, he had 7 FBI agents that were following him. Whether it was surveillance, whether it was on the ground, there was a total of 7 for one person. He's like, that's pretty crazy. And he's like, I'm not anybody that important. You know,
well, what did he do? Why were they following him?
Because he went into the Capitol on January 6th.
Did they confront him? Like, did they ever like have a conversation with him, or they
not
just kinda,
there?
like,
No, what happened was he posted on like Twitter that he was one of the first people in, and they said they wanted to talk to him at like his local office near his place, and so allegedly him and his buddy smoked a blunt in the Capitol, but that's just alleged.
Oh, it's alleged.
Sounds pretty legendary. Yeah.
If it happened.
Yeah.
Too bad.
No, it's all alleged, but yeah. But then he got I think it was 6 months. He said he had to serve in a federal penitentiary in West.
And you think, man, they don't even nowadays. They don't even have, if they're letting you see them, they want you to see them, because I mean they can do everything without even having to even physically move to follow you nowadays. You know, so I would say they're trying to intimidate them. I would think,
even if you're mostly peaceful.
Yeah, for real. Definitely, if you're peaceful, man. Anyone that's peaceful in history gets killed. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, anytime someone gets close to like galvanizing the public, they get fucking taken out.
If you want to talk about racism, it's cool. If you talk about racism, you start talking about class, man, you're dead. That's the end of it, man. They don't want people waking up and saying, "Hey, wait, there's poor of every race." That's crazy. I thought we were the only ones that were poor. That's the name of the game. If everyone can figure that out, man.
Nothing like good old unity.
Well, dude, it's funny you say that, because I was talking with Vince McLeod about that, and just briefly, and we were saying like they try to divide the left and the right so that the top and the bottom don't go at it. You know what I mean? They want a civil war so that there's no revolutionary war, all that stuff. So it's couldn't be further from like bullshit that people need to hate each other, man. It's insane.
That's kind of like when we were talking about Elon Musk. Like, you know, he may be trying to wake people up, but the mainstream media, they can easily portray him as this far right white supremacist, especially given his history in South Africa and apartheid. And it's like, yeah, that could be like a powder keg situation where he's trying to drop information to help people unify and wake up, but he will be portrayed as this supervillain with all this power and all this money, and you can't trust him. He's a bad guy. You know, it's gonna cause a whole lot of chaos.
Well, when they talk about him all the time, that keeps your mind off Mr. Gates, right?
Oh yeah,
because we don't know what he's really up to, but we know it's no good.
Well, yeah, and Sean King was already tweeting about that. He was tweeting about how Elon's a white his dad was a white nationalist or something from South Africa, and how, you know, basically Twitter's going to be a haven for white nationalists now.
It's so
And
stupid.
Gates, I'm sorry, Gates' father was head of Planned Parenthood, right? I
Yeah.
think so.
And the eugenics movement, yes? Or he was a part of that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he was tied with Margaret Sanger.
Mm.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what the right really says Planned Parenthood is straight eugenics, right? Dude, I've actually been listening to you might laugh just considering where I stand on the whole political spectrum, but I've been listening to the Young Turks, and I really do not like them at all. I think that they're pieces of shit, but I've been trying to listen to the left side more
That's
to
smart.
see just to see what that argument is, dude. And they bring up some really good points. One that they brought up about Musk was that the Tesla plant in China, the workers there are required now to sleep on the floor, and they have to work 12-hour days, 6 days a week.
Sounds like
So
Amazon.
it sounds worse than Amazon, right?
Yeah, way
and this
worse.
is freaking Elon Musk, the rights hero. And it's laughable that Sean King would bring up anything about Africa and an African. You know, I mean, Elon Musk is way more African than Sean King could ever hope to be, even though he acts like he's African all the time. His own wife admitted that both of his parents are white. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's goofy, dude. There's no truth anymore, dude. I could say something that I believe in, and I can show you facts that are the complete opposite of something that Matt says, and he has the facts too. Like when what we were just looking at with these freaking leaders, Charles V, they showed a picture of him black. There's a picture there where people legitimately believe he was black, and then you can go and mainstream history will tell you that he's white. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's no truth anymore.
Do you think that's why so many people say that conspiracy leads to spirituality? Because at a certain point, you can't really get a firm grasp on truth. So you have to like look elsewhere. And sometimes there's nowhere else to look but within, right? You guys ever kind of have that conclusion as well?
Yeah, I always think since we've been around, man, it's always been just light and darkness, always battling it out, always. I think that's when you get down to the bottom of it, that's where it all is,
And I think when you start looking into knowledge, right, there's that part of you that goes that route. Once you get a certain amount of knowledge, spirituality has to kind of get incorporated into that to round out the skill set almost.
Right. Like you look at Alex Jones, like he's someone who may have gone a little too far into that left brain area without balancing out with something to keep him afloat, I suppose, because all that could just weigh you down, right?
Well, yeah, you can go extremes either way, right? I mean,
right.
we've talked about this a couple times on the show. Extreme anything is not good. Doesn't matter, because once you get to that extreme, you've gone beyond the point of normalcy, and
it's a tightrope for sure.
I'm sure you guys know just from researching, man. You start researching some of that dark stuff for a while, man. After a while, you just feel drained, and you're like, man, I really don't want even to be looking into this no more. It's been done for a little bit.
I mean, Lindsay, I was a senior in high school, like a mile away from Sandy Hook when that whole thing happened. So a couple of years after that, I started to like kind of gain interest because when it first happened, I was like, I don't want to think about this at all. I just want to bury my head in the sand. And then a couple of years later, I was like, let me dig into this because it was such a big controversy to see these hoaxers and all this. And I totally regret doing that. Like I was curious. I wanted to learn a couple things about what was going on, why Barack Obama came to my fucking high school. But I don't necessarily regret it, but I know I didn't get anything out of it. All I got was more questions and answers.
But what you gave was a lot of energy.
Oh yeah, a lot of loose, right?
Yeah, you donated a lot of your energy. Like you said, you dedicated your wrestling season to them, so your mind was into that for a prolonged time where it would have never been an afterthought had that not happened.
It took years to kind of separate my identity because I would wear, one time I was in a journalism class with like 200 people, like a big lecture, and I was wearing my Newtown wrestling shirt, and the professor called me out. He's like, hey, you there with the Newtown shirt, what do you think about gun control? I was like, oh, hey man, we could talk about mental health. Like I grew up shooting guns. I go hunting. I hunt pheasant every Thanksgiving. I love it. it's good to be responsible, but at the end of the day, like, it's all about the person behind the trigger, right? You know, it's all about the mindset of that person holding the gun. And that's, hopefully I was able to deflect the conversation, but yeah, it was tough to get away from that.
I always think if it just comes down to, if there's a will, there's a way. If you just take away firearms, hey, how many guys have ran over people with trucks and everything else? You know what I mean? And it just moved to something else.
And the majority of the crimes are committed with illegal firearms. So it's not the people who follow the law that are the problem. It's the ones that don't follow the law. And so you can't penalize the ones, and that's where we've gotten to. Now they want to penalize the ones who do follow the law and do it the right way. And you know what, they're puckered right now, you know, because they see, they can feel the rumbling. They know things are uneasy underneath them.
Especially in Australia. Like, I always like to imagine what might have happened if Australia were in a different time, in a different place, with different rules, and what may have been the response of the public. Even in Canada with the trucker protest. I mean, that was hard to see that happening and be like, wow, I mean, all right, are they really there to protect and serve? It was very strange.
Well, and to watch the leaders, right? That's the thing that drives you nuts, is to watch these leaders just turn and run, like, and act like your voice does not matter. They will not hear you. Anything you go counter to their, measures, we can't hear that. That's going to be silent.
You guys notice,
it's
terrorism. Grimerica Instagram, they've changed their Instagram name, or like their title, to unacceptable views. It's like, it's perfect.
Yeah, dude. Were you guys mentioning the stuff over there in France?
France, Australia, Canada, all these protests.
Because, dude, that's nuts that Macron dude won, man. There's
Did you see the fuckery with it, supposedly?
I mean, I didn't see it live or anything.
No. Did you see the picture of the timeline with the votes, and how her votes actually went down?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'll have to see. Somebody sent it to me on Instagram.
Yeah, I think that's in our little group chat on Instagram there. I'll just have to check it out a little bit.
Well, if you look, man, it's everything that's happening around the world. It's happening everywhere. They're dividing everybody, and they're trying to stick everyone in your own little group that they can. I mean, even LGBTQ, ST, whatever it is. Now those people, now they got, you know what I mean? They're breaking them down. Oh no, you're not with us because you're a bisexual, so you're by yourself over here. They want everyone into their own little isolated group. You know,
you're a turd.
Easy to control. Yeah, it's insane. But I mean, when you look at, you step back and look at like the macro instead of the micro, it's like, it's too easy to see what they're trying to do. You know, they just want to divide everybody and everything and steal everything you got, pretty much.
Well, isn't that kind of wild too to think about now when you break it down like that? Because now there is the blue, white, and pink flag versus the rainbow flag, and they're trying to break up all these different people, but then they want a one world government.
Right.
So they want to divide all the people up while the governments around the world are uniting together.
That might be the whole long con, is you get people so divided and so demoralized too, that it seems like the best solution is, well, hey, let's all come together under this one massive umbrella. Like, you talk about the micro and the macro. On the micro level, there's a bunch of little fractions in society, but if they can implement this system that is appealing and has this nice Klaus Schwab figure who can sell it to everyone, then who knows, people
or if they just make it so bad, man, if they make it so bad that you have no choice but to get onto the system, I mean, a majority of people are going to do it. You know what I mean? They're going to give into it. They don't have the will.
10th grade students were doing the Holocaust. We're reading Night by Elie Wiesel, and there was a lot of discussion about, like, all right, we understand what happened to these prisoners, but what about the Germans, and how many of them had a gun held to their head and said, you got to join us or else you and your family are in danger? Like, 9 out of 10 people would say, yep, I'll do whatever you want, just leave my family out of it.
Exactly.
Well, that's
most
supposedly
people, when
how
it comes down, are concerned about themselves. They're not concerned. I mean, maybe to a point they'll say they're concerned about everybody else, but when it comes down to survival, you got your own back and those with you. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
There's one
it's
other
a
thing on that.
stranger's a stranger. It doesn't matter what
Mm.
color, race, or creed they may be. A
Right.
stranger, it's if you're a stranger, I'm choosing my family over you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
And some of these Jewish prisoners, you know, they became kapos. They were the obedient, well-behaved prisoners who the Germans took note of, and they're like, all right, we're going to turn you into a prison guard. And they almost got like Stockholm syndrome, like, all right, the people who are enslaving me, I'm willing to serve them because it will benefit me. It'll guarantee my survival.
Well, that
if
was
I become-
Soros, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
what
Oh, yeah.
Soros did?
That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say. And then you kind of feel special at a certain point if you're a prisoner and you're like, shit, I'm about to die. Oh wait, they chose me.
Mm.
I'm chosen to like help them fight. Okay, well, it
Stockholm
sucks,
syndrome right
but
there.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
But
like
yeah, dude,
being on
that's-
death row, and then all of a sudden now you're on parole, and you're like,
Yeah.
holy
Mm.
shit, I'm gonna get out. Like I'm free. That's a total 180 from where I was
Yeah.
gonna be.
It
Yeah.
relates a lot to the Christian ethos too. Like if someone realizes that they're about to be destroyed and then all of a sudden they're forgiven, it's very life altering. Like their entire mindset will transform and
Yeah.
they will become subservient. And I'm not saying this is a criticism of Christianity, but it's that principle of forgiveness that can transform people's loyalty and their their who they will bend the knee for, essentially, right?
Yeah, I don't like that aspect of it at all. Like,
Mm.
you can go around and like murder and rape and do all kinds of horrible things, but as long as you repent before your death, none of that stuff is, you're not judged for any of that shit.
Mm.
That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So again, all these religions have their little aspects to them that are bullshit, and then some are more true than others, I think. But I don't know, man. At the end of the day, it's so hard. It's so hard to really know what.
You know what was
the
cool about
answer is, dude.
Buddhism? It's like, they were trained to be monks, like very centered and grounded individuals, whether or not they were like atheists, like that's beside this point. But the fact that they were trained to be peaceful monks, but also to learn martial arts so that just in case they needed to defend themselves, they could be ready. But their default state was not this warring, bloodthirsty ethos. It was more of like, let's stay grounded.
Well,
and
as
peaceful.
humans, as humans, that's what we should strive to be, really,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Right.
hey, we all have free will. You mind your own business, do what you want to do. As soon as you start telling me what to do or messing with my property or the ones that I love, well, then now you've got a different animal. It's not
Yeah.
the same guy you were talking to before.
And
But that's how we all should be, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the people who call themselves patriots and they're liberty minded, I'm always drawn to them because of that same principle, like live and let live. And you can do your thing over there if you don't interfere with my thing over here. It seems like a great way to live. It's just when Los Federales start to step on your toes a bit, it gets a little challenging.
Well, dude, there's
Or
something
people
that
want
kind
the
of
state to take care of them. That's
Mhm.
the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stockholm syndrome again.
there's
Yeah.
a little bit of a jump from that, which I like that idea too. I like the idea of being peaceful as your default, but you have that aggression. I think that it makes society stronger. But there was something that I heard about, like the Greek word where the term work comes from, and what work comes from, because now in our society we have to work just to barely get by, dude. Like it really has gotten extremely tough for everyone, like even people that were doing pretty well before. Work, the original meaning of it from the Greek language is the lack of leisure, the absence of leisure. So that implies that leisure is supposed to be like the baseline. You're supposed to be relaxing and you're supposed to be tranquil. And then when you work for a few hours a week or whatever, so that's one thing, as much as it pains me to say that the socialists have right, lowering the work days and all this shit. All this stuff usually ends up bad, but I like the idea of, just the idea that leisure and peace is the baseline, and work and chaos is something that you're supposed to really limit.
What's interesting too, leisure. So I was looking up the etymology because you brought that up. Leisure is the Latin licere, which is to be allowed or to have, to like have the opportunity to
think, to do what you want, right? To find, for some people, spirituality and all that shit. Yeah, dude, there's something to that kind of stuff, man. And that's why it is kind of cool to learn like etymology of words, just like the origins of all these these terms that we use today that have been bastardized.
Yeah, there's a interesting, I thought about a couple of years ago, before I started listening to podcasts, one of the first like YouTube channels I would spend a lot of time on was Tim Ferriss, and he had the 4-hour work week. Now, say what you want about Tim, he's vaccinated, he's very pro the narrative, whatever. Put that aside. The current thing, yes. There's an interesting point there because, like recently my students were able to do a free persuasive speech on any topic that they could choose. And most people wanted to talk about shortening the school day because we would go from 7:20 to 2:00. And that's a lot of time to spend in one building under those fluorescent lights. And if we could shorten that day, shorten it down, because really it's molded to fit that 9 to 5, working class lifestyle. If that whole system was transformed, our nervous systems would change with it.
Oh, for sure. Or if school was even outside.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, I'm hoping to get away from that public school madness eventually.
Yeah, man. Hopefully whatever you want works out for you, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, but you got to feed the beast, the education system. They're not going to let it go that easy, but the right thing to do.
Cogs in the machine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, they what these kids are taught these days, it's such a waste of time. They could go half the amount of time and still do what they need to do.
Right.
I mean, there's just so much. I know my son's teacher talks about they need more time, and I'm like, I don't know.
Sometimes less is a lot more.
Yeah. And I mean, they already go less. They have like half day Fridays now and things like that. And it's strange. They definitely go to school a lot less than we did.
Yeah. When we were doing school online, it was 7:00 to 12:00. And then that last 2-hour section was meet with your teacher and, answer questions. But having just like a short, 4 or 5 hour day made everyone way, way happier. They were way less stressed because they had the whole afternoon to get their shit done or to do what they wanted to do, like play a sport, go outside, like Ryan said, get some sunlight. Like, Jesus, how many people are vitamin D deficient these days? And they're spending so much time under fluorescent lights.
It's kind of scary too, that during this lockdown, when the complete rehaul of the education system went on, these kids were actually happier. You know what I mean? Like,
they were
kind of scary.
Yeah,
dude.
I can confirm. I mean, just from my slice of this
experience.
Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have more of an idea, and then Matt, you'd have more of an idea than I would, and then even you too, Shannon, you'd have more because, dude, I don't have a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I just have literally a sister that's about to graduate this month or in May, I guess. So, dude, I don't know shit about this, but it's just wild to hear that because my sister she didn't like the online school. She wanted to be there, because she liked hanging out with her friends. But she's basically an adult at this point. You know what I mean? But
introverts love it. they were a big fan of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. The extroverts were miserable.
But you got to think about it too, though. Most kids are social animals. So especially the younger ones, I think it had a pretty significant impact on them.
Especially those masks.
Well, and then when they did go back, then they were masked. Their teacher was masked. I know my son on a couple occasions would come home and say, Dad, I can't understand what she's saying. Yeah. I'm in the back of the class and I can't understand what she's saying under the mask.
I'm already deaf as it is. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Good luck keeping his attention. I mean, he's got the attention of a gnat right now, so he'll find any excuse to bounce to something else. But
I'm sure TikTok has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with the quick attention span of the younger generation. But we'll see.
Dude, that
now YouTube's coming out with the YouTube Shorts. So that's going right along. That's along that Instagram Reels, which sucks people in. There's all these little ways.
It's all about shortening that attention span, man.
Yep. Little dopamine hits, right?
Yeah, just a little kick.
That's it.
Dude, I forget what comedian it was that said it, but it was like, if you looked at if you were just like someone that didn't know what TikTok was and you came and you had someone flipping through TikTok, you would literally think that it was like showing criminally insane people just doing random shit. Because it's like, one is someone singing and then some chick doing a dance and then some other one just showing you a pair of shorts.
Very schizophrenic. You know?
Yeah, dude, just like little 5-second things and like just really goofy. It's a funny image to think about, like what someone that knows nothing of technology would think of that kind of shit that just has no purpose. Dude, I've been following this page on Instagram. It's like just a bunch of cringy videos. And dude, it lets you kind of just see like a little glimpse of the insanity that the internet really creates, dude. It's fucking like those hilarious.
Cursed images. Yeah.
And just dumb
people are
dances.
Retarded out there, man. I mean, there's some dumb human beings.
There's something interesting to that too, because like someone, I forgot who, but they were talking about the algorithm is not necessarily evil. Like we could definitely view social media as being this like evil beast, but like we all use it. But the thing is with the algorithm, it really is a reflection. It's that black mirror that really just shows you who you are. Like whatever you put into that algorithm, like all that loosh that you put into it, it spits it right back out to you. Like I think it was someone on Joe Rogan. It was one of his comedian buddies. He was like, I'm going to make a brand new YouTube channel and only watch puppy videos. And the algorithm would just only show him puppies. And it's like, if you make the right choices, the algorithm can be whatever you want it to be. Yet it's, we're always tempted to dive into the dark side of the internet. Yeah.
Apparently my personality is conspiracies, puppies, and ass videos. Girls.
It's a pretty good balance, Ryan. Yeah. It seems like it's
well-rounded.
Yeah.
Touch on all those.
Dude, it always sends me wrestling videos, and I don't even watch wrestling.
You mean like WWE?
Mine's broke.
Is it like WWE or like high school wrestling, college wrestling?
No, it's like WWE and that other one, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
I have no social media accounts either, so maybe that plays a role. I don't know.
There you go. It's still just like kind of guessing who you are.
They're like, this white dude loves wrestling. He's
they just drop random stuff in there.
Yeah.
The typical white guy likes.
They're like, he's got long
Maybe
hair.
like this.
He's got long hair. He looks like one of them.
He's a veteran. He's got long hair. He's white. He likes wrestling. Put it on. That's funny, dude.
It's crazy.
What do you think about? So there's like this study, because like Lindsay, I see you got the long hair. Respect. There was a study done with the Native American populations when they would cut their long hair. Suddenly they were not able to hunt very well, or their intuition was like dampened. And you've been through the military and they shave everyone's head. Now you've been able to grow it back. I mean, do you personally notice a difference, or do you see any truth to that? Because it could be like an urban legend, but it seems to have some kind of substance. What do you think about that?
I'll be honest with you. Like for me, I had so much stuff happen to me. Like that guy that I was when I was in the military, I'm not even that guy now anymore whatsoever. I'm a totally different person. I was the straight line guy, always, high speed, always hard charging. Now I'm the mellow, laid back stoner guy with long hair, and I just want to get along with everyone and have fun. Nice. Then there could be truth to it. I don't know.
But it goes back
to be honest, I really don't know.
Goes back to the Samson story, right? From the Bible, when they cut his hair, that was it.
And the real society,
and he got done in by a woman too.
Yeah. Don't we all?
What were you gonna say about the Vril Society?
Yeah, the Vril Society. They, I guess, if Adolf Hitler was working with these occultists to contact the inner Earth civilization or extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings, and these women, the Thule, the Vril Society, had very, very long hair, which was allegedly helping them make contact.
Yeah, they never cut it.
Right.
They never cut it. There's like pictures like where it's down to like their ankles.
Yeah. And there's like a reference
that helped them get antennas or something like that.
Yeah, it is like an antenna, like an avatar. Yep. And then there's also like the warrior ethos, like it could be in Game of Thrones or in other cultures where the warrior is growing their hair longer and longer, and then when they're finally defeated, they have to chop it off, and that's when they lose their connection to the divine or something like that.
I'm sure there's probably something to it. If we weren't pumped full of all these chemicals and shit, we'd probably feel it more. You know what I mean? That's pretty interesting. I never heard that.
And there's like fluoride in the water that we bathe in, or like all the calcium, all that stuff. It's if you go deep
all
into
the
that,
preservatives in your food.
Yeah, yeah, Ryan. This the preservatives that you brought up earlier with the
Oh,
kidneys. How did you come across that originally?
oh, actually, a Patreon subscriber told me about it, and then
Mm.
I'm working on an episode right now just about this whole satanic influence on the government and like the world and shit. And I swear, I feel like I always have to say I'm agnostic because I'm constantly talking about like Christianity and the Luciferian angle, but it's just so prevalent in pop culture and in the government. So that's why I talk about it. But I also don't want people to think I'm like a Bible thumper because I'm not,
Nah,
dude. I'm sure like every one of you knows more about the Bible than I do, dude. I don't know shit.
but like, are there
Um,
like particular products that this is used in? Like, were you saying
yeah,
like
dude.
Kraft?
It's in Kraft, which they own DiGiorno, they
Mm.
own all kinds of shit. So let me pull up the company. It's called Cinemex. Kind of sounds like a stripper's name from the future.
Cinemex, like MEX.
Yep.
Let me type this in real quick. HEK 293 is what it's called if anyone's interested. And yeah, HEK 293 cell line. I'm trying to find the name, but yeah, it's Cinemix. It's a weird name. Like I said, it sounds like a stripper from the future. Let's see.
Cenemix was an American biotech company that developed food additives. The
Yeah.
company claimed to have reverse engineered human taste and aroma sensation.
Yeah, so there was the controversy. They shut down supposedly. There was the controversy, and supposedly this isn't in the food anymore. But I feel like if it worked, and it was mostly in a replacement for like sugar, like so it'd be in a lot of the diet drinks, which is interesting because like we know how much our brains need fat,
Mhm.
which obviously sugar and fat are different things. But when they start introducing these very artificial things, that's gonna fuck with the way that your body's supposed to work, obviously. But yeah, so any Pepsi products, so Pepsi would be also Frito-Lay. So Pepsi owns Frito. So you've got Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Lipton iced tea, uh dude, almost any drink that you see in the soft drink aisle or the tea aisle, that's owned by Pepsi. Kraft has tons and tons of brands, Campbell's soup.
Hmm.
Just look at a list of the companies that are owned by those three and you'll get a good idea of what you
Yeah.
shouldn't eat, which you really shouldn't eat any of those things anyway.
Right.
It's
If it
easier
comes in a
said than
box
done.
or bag, you gotta stay. Oh, and by the way, this Cenemix company. So in 2018, it was purchased by a Swiss company named Firmenich. I thought it said Firmament when I first saw that, but it's Firmenich. And they're a huge a perfume company. So that's
Well,
like going right into hormones and the nervous system and kind of geo or engineering human consciousness in a way through smell.
well, I'm glad you reminded me of that because they also it's in a lot of facial creams and like things that make people look young or supposedly make people look young. But then there's also isopropyl alcohol and a lot of that shit which ages you really quickly. So it's almost like it's kind of like a fuck you. You know what I mean? To put these and dude, it may be a weird way to look at it, but I just see that as an attack on Christianity personally. Just because like the Christians are very, very anti-abortion, which I don't really have much of a strong opinion on abortion personally, but you know, these are mostly the people that are protesting Planned Parenthood. And it's like, okay, well, you know, you guys aren't big drinkers either. Here's some fucking aborted babies in your food that you like to eat. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a dark thing, but yeah, it's in all kinds of shit. It's also in bubble gum. Basically any kind of gum you would eat, you know, tried or Trident or whatever the fuck, extra, the 5 gum, all those things. So you're not eating them in that case, you're just chewing on them. And then you know, candies, the gummy candies, all that crazy stuff. So yeah, dude, it's sad. I guess they tested it in rats. Here's a good picture actually of the
most people don't even realize that the biggest organ you have is your skin. So when you're rubbing that crap on there, man, it's going right into your bloodstream.
Something as simple as deodorant can totally transform the way that you're like it kind of all goes back to hormones because like if you've got aluminum flowing through your pores, that heavy metal will start to collect somewhere. And I would guess it goes to your heart because like you have your armpits, Closest organ there is your heart, and I'm sure.
Yeah, or your brain. I think it goes
yeah.
past your blood-brain barrier, and then you look at dementia when people are older, and it's almost like a mimic of heavy metal poisoning. It has almost the same type of symptoms. So maybe after all the years of the vaxes with all the mercury and aluminum and all that, and your deodorants having aluminum sulfate, your shampoos, all that garbage. I mean, you're rubbing it right on your head. And it gets through your blood-brain barrier. Maybe it deposits itself in there and shows itself later.
Like, I know people who have like bad acne and they rub this shit on their face every morning, sometimes like twice a day. And I'm like, all right, like how many of those ingredients can you pronounce? Like, where do they come from? You know, it's like,
well, and there's a reason that shit's coming out of your skin. There's something wrong inside that it's trying to get out, you know, and that's why you got to look at something else. Rubbing stuff on it exteriorly is a temporary, you know, band-aid. You got to fix the root cause of that, and that's inside your body. It's your body saying, listen, man, you got to fix this. I don't like this. This is not working for me. And it's usually your gut. You know, you got to go back to your gut biome.
The funny thing is,
drink the bone broth. That's what I would say.
Broth.
That's
the really
good thing for leaky gut. Yeah,
the collagen is like incredible. I had 2 surgeries, dude. And the collagen and weed fucking cured me. I didn't have to take any Percocet, none of that opiate bullshit. Just collagen and a little THC, and I was.
Me too. Me too. I was on fentanyl, hydrocodone, all kinds of hard stuff, and I use THC, and I drink bone broth still all the time.
Nice.
That's pretty much all I use.
Do you fuck with kratom?
No, you know what?
Kyle talk about that a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people use it. I never needed it, so I always just started using THC, and I'm like, hey, this is working great for everything for me. So I'm just going to stick with what works. I'm not even going to start introducing anything else. You know?
Yeah.
Unless I have to.
There was Nestle was another big one that I wanted to get on before we moved away from that, because if you just look at what brands these few companies own, it touches on. I mean, you have one of their products in your fridge, guaranteed, or in your pantry, even if you think that you eat pretty healthy. I mean, Quaker is part of that whole thing too. So yeah, dude, it's a far-reaching thing, man, and that's why it's kind of scary when these companies start taking over more and more brands, and the corporatocracy starts really raining down on everyone. It's that instead of having to tap into thousands of different brands, you've got to hit, 6 or 8 different conglomerates, and then you've got all those people involved, so crazy shit.
Throw an idea out there, because we're talking about health and nutrition, and I know there's like a gut brain connection, and maybe you guys can relate. I'm just speculating here, of course, but after I tried psilocybin, or other psychedelics, I started to notice how sensitive I was becoming to certain foods. In a college party kind of lifestyle, when you're eating shit and junk food all the time, you don't really notice it when you're drinking a lot, but something like mushrooms kind of changed the way that I would relate to my gut. And I was like, damn, this doesn't feel right. Whereas if I was drunk, I was kind of numb to that sensation. It was very strange shift in my awareness. And these days, you can tell right away when you eat something that is processed, you can almost feel it instantly if you really look for it. And I guess it's just better to avoid it. But it's interesting how those certain plants, I've heard of people who eat peyote as well. They say that their taste buds change forever. They can never taste the same after that, and they develop this aversion to those processed chemicals.
Interesting. Yeah, dude. I mean, I drink a lot. I'm trying to cut back though, so, but I mean, I always get those feelings more with awareness. If I'm in a situation that feels off, I can kind of tell.
Yeah.
And I remove myself from it usually. But I don't know if we're wrapping up here anytime soon. I just wanted to throw out that one thing that the thing with the water. It's called deuterium, I think. Yeah, deuterium. And instead of H2, it's 2H. So it's got the little 2 on the top and the H on the bottom. You know how they show hydrogen, it's a big H, little 2. This is just backwards, and it's heavy water. It's not literally radioactive, but it has the same kind of effects. It's heavy hydrogen. And I guess one way that you can tell if your water is crazy with it is that your ice cubes won't float in your water
density
glass.
changes.
Yeah. Even though it's the same, it's the same water that's being made out of the ice cubes and the water. I guess there's some weird chemical shit where if it's harmful, your ice cubes won't even float. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, that was one thing where, again, dude, I thought that snake venom video was really helpful and interesting, because I learned so much shit about water in the last freaking couple of weeks. You know what I mean? So if nothing else, I mean, it educated me a little bit about some stuff.
Yeah. And I'm sure you probably heard of the Dr. Emoto, where the guy can change the structure. Dude. Yeah. It's like, the frequencies around the water that we're consuming are what we will end up consuming in the end. And might as well.
I'm talking with the lady in about a month here, I think, that out of New Zealand that does similar stuff. And I did a little episode on Masaru Emoto's work. Dude, I have his book. It's really interesting, man. But
brilliant.
She does some cool stuff with her water too. I guess she'll like freeze stuff and then look at the crystals and like, play music. It's real similar, but it's kind of like talking to like a living version of this dude, right?
Yeah.
Well, they say you can do the same with plants, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Music, just
talk
kind
to them,
words,
positive, vibes, energy, vibrations.
You ever see people put a polygraph, like the lie detector machine on a plant?
No.
So like if you think about touching the plant or like chopping off one of its leaves, it'll send a signal, like it can anticipate your actions. It's like, just like we are reading the vibe or the atmosphere of that room, the plants have the same sensation or that same ability to sense. And yeah,
that
I kind of get into that whole like electrical universe type deal. Like,
exactly.
I don't know if you ever looked at that. It's like I haven't studied it enough, but it's like, I don't know, a lot of that stuff seems like it makes sense to me when you're looking into it. It's interesting.
There's a toroidal field of energy around us, and it's apparently it extends 6 feet out. So if you stay 6 feet away from someone, you're not going to be engaging with their energy field, which could be for better or worse. But
that's like why you walk somebody and get the goosebumps.
Right.
It's that feeling that you're like you walk near someone and you feel like them. There's an instant connection there. It's just those energies mix. And it's wild.
We were talking earlier. You think that's why they're trying to screw up everything with, all this electronic garbage at 5G all over and everything. It's because they know that. Yeah, they know that that's how we operate, and it's going to jack us up, I think.
Dude, I heard that's why they're putting those plexiglass things in like the grocery stores and all these different places, is that with the 5G, because the 5G is not even turned on yet. But when the 5G gets turned on, the plexiglass will make it so it's almost kind of like a scope. So if there's plexiglass all over the place, they can actually like direct the 5G through these things more efficiently.
Like triangulate it certain areas.
Exactly. And with the Bluetooth, like the AirPods and shit like that.
So there's something
is triangulating and it's making it so that they can pinpoint where you're breathing and all these different things. So if they want to shut you down, the 5G frequency will make you have a heart attack. And all these things. It's just another thing to freak yourself out about, really. But
like when you were a kid with a magnifying glass and the ants, man, using the sun. Same type of deal.
Exactly.
Playing God.
Yeah.
There was something strange when we went on lockdown and all the schools were shut down. I still always saw power companies working on those power lines, and I'm sure they went into the schools as well to install these new Wi-Fi routers, and that never shut down. And it was just strange. Everyone's at home except for you essential workers. God bless all of you, but all the power companies, they kept at it and they kept on installing new whatever was up there. And it's always kind of bugged me.
They were working at schools, towers, wherever, nonstop during that.
Well, and that's terrifying too, to tie in with that freaking school in New Jersey where 100 people came down with the same kind of brain cancer from the 70s and that was from the 70s to modern times, right? So who knows what kind of experimental technology
like a water supply issue or something?
No, they're in the middle of looking into what it was, but they're theory that, well, like the patient or the doctors, I'm sorry, were saying that it looks like someone that was exposed to Agent Orange or someone that was living directly next to a nuclear power plant. Like it's fucked up brain cancer, really, really rare. I guess one in every like 300,000 people, or maybe it was 100,000 people get it. But then you have 100 people at this one school over 30 years getting it.
Damn.
What do you think? What do you think
anyone
about
living in
this?
Jersey.
Do you think somehow, now I'm not saying it is because I have no idea. Do you think somehow those vaccines are tied into the 5G when they turn it on, that there was something in there?
Heard
Like
that.
these people are trying to say?
Graphene,
I don't know.
oxide kind of stories. Yeah.
Yeah. And you think that would work with that other system? It's kind of
Yeah.
It's possible,
out there,
dude.
but
I know it's very possible, and that's what I thought initially, but I'm starting to think that these vaccines are kind of a distraction from some 5G shit.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Think so?
Because
yeah.
Like digital passport type of technocratic control.
who knows, dude? I mean, my opinions on these things change every week, it seems
Mhm.
like at this point, man. You know, you get
Yep.
new information and then your mind changes about the stuff. So I'm still not getting that damn vaccine, though, I'll tell you that
No.
right now.
Nope.
But I am thankful for
I'm
all
with
my
you.
relatives who got it. They seem to be okay, but I've heard stories of people who got their booster and it didn't take too well.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, my uncle had a brain aneurysm,
Mm.
so
Oh man,
Damn,
sorry,
that's-
dude.
it did
no,
not
sorry
work.
to
It did
hear
not
that, dude.
work out well for him. So it's like, and he was like perfectly healthy.
Mm.
I think he was like 58, something like that. And
Damn.
it's like, damn, gone.
And the whole
Just at the
thing too
breakfast
is
table, had
who
a
knows
headache.
Mm.
who knows what's going to happen 10, 15 years from now with these
And
things.
that's what I said to
that's the
people.
thing.
I'm like, man, and because my brother-in-law got it for work and he only had to get one. And then they kind of played around. So I'm like, dude, you have to make sure for like the next year, you focus on doing everything you can to detoxify and get yourself in the best shape you can. Because otherwise that thing could have lingering effects because they don't know. Nobody knows. They didn't do the long-term effects long enough
Right.
to be able to.
I gotta
Right.
share this too. I mean, I haven't really been able to talk about this too much, but the fact is that when the HR department of the school district that I work for was sending out because I got religious exemption, thank God. Not many people got that. They were fired. They were like, we're gonna replace you with someone else. I got religious exemption. And for that, from that point on, they would send out emails to everyone saying, we have to promote, and this is legit in the email, that vaccines are the #1 prevention measure for COVID-19, which just
They do it
seems
the same thing
false.
at my job, Jake.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I work in corporate America and they have been pushing this thing like it's the greatest thing. Now, the funny thing is I haven't heard boo about it since Ukraine took off.
Everyone
Because
forgot about it.
we have switched and now and that's what's hilarious because we're talking about corporate America where it's supposed to be, neutral. This is like a social justice swinger because we went from one to now we're on the other, and you go to the homepage of the company and it's, we stand with, and it's like, guys, come on.
Who stands with the unvaccinated these days, though?
Did you hear that? I forget when it was, but there was an article that came out when it was trying to dox all the companies, the big companies, especially that weren't, going against Russia and standing with Ukraine. And they said straight up in that article that the Biden administration was doing that to see how effectively companies would fall in line with the government's messaging. They said that straight out, dude. And that's corporate and freaking government collusion, right? That's corporatism at the very least, right? And realistically, more of an introduction to corporatocracy. So,
without a doubt.
Yeah, 2021 introduced a lot of coercion and bullying just to demand conformity, just like you were saying. Yeah, that's kind of like
think how
new
many
norm.
Think how many small businesses are done now because of COVID, because of their lockdowns. They're done. So it's like all this is going to take another 2 or 3 of them coming around, and there won't be any small businesses left. It'll just be all the mega corporations. And then, did you guys hear about that new thing with the kids, the hepatitis B? I think it's hepatitis B. Hepatitis. I just heard it. I'm not a news guy. I was on in the house, and when I went in there before I came out, and they were talking about it, saying that there's a new hepatitis going around for young kids, and I think it's overseas right now, and they're saying it's going to come here next. So it's like, I don't know if they're showing their hand already telling us, but
I mean, Fauci has said a bunch of times
someone could probably look it up and see.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of reminds me, ironically, of 2020 because there was a lull. There seemed to be like a point of optimism right before George Floyd. And we were like on this track where COVID cases were going down. People were becoming more and more hopeful, I guess. And then this event happened in Minnesota and everything went wild again. And it's like we're kind of on this roller coaster. And right now we're on this dip. I mean, this Elon Musk story is definitely going to cause some kind of turbulence, but we'll see what comes down next.
Yeah, mysterious hepatitis outbreak among children. It's not saying where, just in the headline there, but yeah, that definitely doesn't sound good at all.
No.
In the UK, I guess in North Carolina, 2 cases have been reported in North Carolina already, and 9 in Alabama. Yeah, that's fucked up.
Spread?
One kid died, dude. I think that this shit spreads. I don't know how it's spreading, but like, going back to that stupid snake venom stuff, this whole thing targets your weak organs. So if a kid or a person in general has, like, weak liver running in the family, or pancreatic problems, or heart disease like my family, that's where this stuff kind of affects you, whether it's the COVID or whether it is the snake shit or whatever it is. It targets your weaknesses, right? So someone that has like a thyroid problem, die of cancer, right? Someone with pancreatic problem, diabetes. I don't know, dude. It's so damn confusing, and these people are clearly so many steps ahead of us that it's just like, really everything's a theory, and I don't think any theories are stupid right now.
Anything's possible. Anything is possible at this point,
if you put your mind to it.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, with that, I think we're gonna wrap it for tonight. Let's go around the horn. Plug your stuff, let the people know where they can find you, and thank you very much for joining. This was another wonderful, excellent conversation. So Jake, we'll lead with you, and where can people find your work?
Thank you, gentlemen. This community is incredible. I'm happy to be here with y'all. You can find me on the Loco Listens podcast or on Instagram at Loco Listens. Looking forward to connecting with y'all. If you want to speak your truth on a cool new podcast, I'd be happy to talk to you. Thank you, guys.
Excellent. Thanks, brother. Shannon.
Hey, man, I'm just solo. I just started a YouTube channel the other day, but I don't even have nothing on there. It's called Secret Squirrel Podcast.
Nice.
That's all I got.
That's
hell
awesome.
Yeah, dude. When are you planning on putting something on there?
I don't know. I can't even record my intro, man. I've been trying to do it, and every time I erase it, I'm like, this is so stupid. It sucks.
Yeah,
So,
you just gotta throw something together. Put some voice snippets in there. That's always kind of fun, I just stole mine from movies.
Yep.
They're short clips. I don't think you can get in trouble for those.
No, you can't.
Less than 8 seconds.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Dude, I'm excited to see what you come up with, Shannon. But yeah, I guess that leaves me next here. I'm Ryan. I'm here every week. You know where to find me. And we have a good time, man. I always am excited to do this. Main thing I'm plugging right now is other than the Patreon, just patreon.com/Dangerous World Podcast, is the YouTube channel. It's just Dangerous World Podcast. Do some fun news. I upload videos from appropriate episodes, because not all of my episodes can go up on YouTube if I want to keep the channel. And I'm excited to do the episode with you, Loco. I know that we're gonna do one pretty soon, so that'll be a fun one. And Matt, you're up, dude.
Dude, YouTube is such a tight dance right now. It's like,
it is.
And you watch, and the followers come slowly, but it's like, it's like, is it worth it? Because eventually, if you say one wrong thing, there you go, boom, strike.
It's a tightrope.
Yeah, and I got a strike from 2020, or a warning from like 2020 on my account that I didn't even know I had.
Shit, yeah, I didn't think that they would really care until we were monetizing. I don't know how close you are to monetizing.
I don't think I'm close.
Probably close. You have to have 1,000. No, fuck no. I'm not talking about any vaccine stuff, but I think you have to have 1,000 followers and 4,000 hours of streaming. So,
Okay.
and then, so last I checked, you were pretty close. You're closer than me, Matt. So hopefully you'll get there soon. And then be careful, dude. Be careful.
Oh, dude. I don't put anything except pictures up there. Basically, I'll put like a few of the podcasts. Like there was a few Monday. What I do is I let Spotify test it for me. If I don't get that COVID banner on the Spotify, then I can I'll give it a shot on YouTube.
Nice.
But otherwise, yeah. So you can find me, where Instagram, the Great Deception Podcast, YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, and I'm gonna start moving some stuff over there because, like we said, you don't want to have all your stuff in one spot right now because it can be taken away real quick. But I'm interested to see what happens on Twitter. I won't go back there. I think it's a cesspool. But that's where you can find us. So
hell yeah, dude.
As
I
always,
did want to say really
ahead,
quick.
Ryan.
I'm sorry to jump in one more time. I wanted to thank everyone for helping me get bumped up to like 63 in the news commentary in the United States. That's fucking dope. Beating the chicks on the right. I hate those chicks. There's two girls that just scream about conservative values. So I'm beating them. I'm real happy about that. So
dude, we got to get the daily dump first. We'll start slowly. We got to get you in the top 25. And then we got to bring that daily dump all the way to the top. That'd be awesome.
You think I should do a podcast feed of it?
I don't. No. Keep it as is. Just let it keep going.
Oh, YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got to try something there, but heck yeah, man. I'm really thankful for that. So
that's awesome, dude. Congrats.
Looking forward to chatting with you guys again. This was very interesting. We went a lot of different directions, but
yeah, it was nice meeting y'all. I had a good time.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, we will definitely do this again sometime, fellas. Thank you very much. All right, everyone, stay strong and question everything.